On this episode of Russia Uncensored, somebody's telling the West what to do about Russia, and somebody is enlightening it. Здравствуйте, товарищи. I'm your host, Alex Otto. Nadiya Savchenko. It seems to be a name thrown around a lot these days. Some would call her a hero, others would call her a villain, and a few would even call her a sadist lesbian. Whatever way you look at it, Savchenko certainly has caused quite a diplomatic stir in recent months. And my oh my, just like any good topic in Russian diplomacy, the situation she created is filled with controversy and political bias no matter which side you're on. The root of this controversy all started in 2014 during the war in Donbass. Savchenko, who was a military pilot at the time, was accused of a purported role in the deaths of 2 Russian journalists, and as a result, she was captured by pro-Russian separatists. During her Russian detention, she was sentenced to 22 years in prison after a very fair, peaceful trial in Russia.
Останнє слово ви хотіли, так? От вам моє останнє слово. Всім добре видно? А тепер перекладач, перекладіть, будь ласка, мій останній жест.
However, Russia wasn't the only side pulling the strings in the political puppet show. After Savchenko had spent 2 months in Russian prison, Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko worked out a magical algorithm to exchange Savchenko for 2 low-level Russian intelligence officers being held prisoner in Ukraine. The Ukrainian court said that the men were responsible for waging aggressive war in Ukraine, which is basically a conviction equivalent to what Nazi officers received in the Nuremberg trials. That's pretty hefty considering the fact that the Ukrainian government still hasn't even acknowledged that there's a war in eastern Ukraine to begin with. It's almost like Ukraine was intentionally, just maybe, picking and choosing portions of international law in the Russian officer's trial in order to create a parallel situation to Savchenko's case. In effect, setting the stage for the switcheroo. Just maybe that's what happened, but it could be a coincidence. It's pretty hard to tell. The best part about this situation is that it caused the U.S. to take a firm diplomatic stance against Russian policies. Yes, you heard me right. John Kerry actually did something for U.S.-Russia relations besides buying Matroshki in Moscow. Now that's a cause for celebration. Well, I guess the extra pressure worked because Vladimir Putin pardoned Savchenko for humanitarian concerns at the end of May. After all, that isn't out of character for Putin considering his amazing track record of upkeeping humanitarian concerns for critics of Russia. Now that Savchenko is free, she plans on being actively involved in Ukrainian politics. Maybe she'll go back to the cockpit, or maybe she'll become the next president of Ukraine. While her plans for the future aren't super clear, what is clear is her message to the West. She claims that the West needs to moderate Russia's audacity and imperialistic appetite by providing direct military support for Ukrainian national forces. Otherwise, if the West doesn't stop Russia from expanding to the borders of Ukraine, Russia will be on the borders of Poland or Germany next. So what do you think? Should the West follow Nadiya Savchenko's advice, or is she really just a figurehead for Western anti-Putin propaganda? Once again, I'm Alex Otto. Спасибо за просмотр.
Не валяй дурака, Америка. Вот те валенки мерзнешь, небось, что Сибирь, что Аляска, 2 берега, баня, водка, гармон и лосось.